In last video we learned how to draw a rectangle on screen and how to move it. In this video we'll make a simple ping pong game, and by that we will learn basic input handling and basic concepts of collision detection. First let me change the game into caption to ping pong, and then I will put the main loop inside a function. Or you can write the color values directly in the Pygame drawing function, and let's make it white. Let's rename the react to box. Now this box is supposed to move, and we will give this a random starting movement. For that we will import the random library. We need to assign velocity or speed for both x and y axis, and we will give it a random starting velocity with random module. For x we will do random.randint. For x-axis speed I want it to pick a random integer from -3 to -1, because I want the box to move left when the game starts. Our box position in the start of the game should be the center of the screen, so we have to fix the x and y coordinate value. For x coordinate it will be half of screen width minus half of box width, and for y coordinate it will be half of screen height minus half of box height. The box is now in center, but it's not moving because we assigned its speed but we are not updating its position. First update the x coordinate. Let's write it in short. Let's see if the box is moving. We have to update the y coordinate also. Now every time we run we will see the box is moving in a slightly different direction. But y velocity is always to the down, so in box speed we will multiply y velocity with random dot choice -1 and 1. Multiply the y velocity with either 1 or -1. If it multiplies with -1, then y velocity will be upwards. Now y velocity can be upwards or downwards. By the way, I didn't use randint -3 to 3 for y-axis speed because that can pick 0, and in that case box will not move vertically at all. By the way, see, we're writing same code twice, once for x updating and once for y coordinate updating. We should not do that. Instead we will use a for loop. See, it's working the same. See this. This is this is the left of our rectangle of our box, and this is top, and this is right, and this is down. Now if we want to get what is the right coordination value of our box, because we are using the left coordination value as x, what will be the right? It will be x plus width, x coordinate value plus width. Similarly down will be y plus h. Now we can write how the box will react when touching the wall. By wall I mean top of the screen, left of the screen, and down of the screen. not the right side of the screen, because there will be adding the pedal. For left side of the screen, we can say if our box left is lower than 0, then it's touching left wall or left screen, whatever. When our box left is lower than 0, first thing we have to do is make it 0, not lower than 0. Although in this project, if we don't do this, it might not affect the game, but later when we will be adding data time stuff, then it plays a big role. We will learn about that later. Now left y is obviously in the x-axis, and if we want our box to bounce when it touches the left y, we will want the x-axis velocity to flip. If it's positive, it will be negative in case touching the right wall, and if it's negative, it will be positive when touching the left wall. That we can simply multiply it by -1. Left wall bounce, and for top wall bounce we have to do the same. So instead of writing it again, we will just use a for loop. It's working perfectly, but we have to do it for down side of the screen too. For that we have to check if box down is greater than screen height. Like in left bounce, we did box left equals 0. Here we have to do box down equals screen height. Now working with down part means we are working with y axis, so we'll make the y velocity flip here. Something wrong here. Instead of box down, we checked box right. As it's working fine, we can start making our pedal. Our pedal is also a react. For that we will use again a list. It will be in right of the screen, and in the start of the game it will be in the middle of screen height. So x coordinate will be screen width minus pedal width, and y coordinate will be half of screen height minus half of pedal height. Now let's draw the pedal on screen. I am using red for the pedal color. Now pedal is visible and in desired position. But to play the game we need to move the pedal. We want our box to move when we press specific keys on our keyboard. For that we need to first register all the held keys with pygame.key.grid pressed. To move the pedal up and down, we will use the up and down arrow keys. We will move the pedal down when down arrow key is pressed, and up when up arrow key is pressed. Now we can move the pedal, but see, pedal can go out of the screen entirely. We need to fix that. Pedal top becomes lower than 0, we will make pedal top equals to 0. If pedal down is greater than screen height, we will do pedal down is equals to screen height. Now pedal will stay within the boundary. But the box still doesn't bounce back when it hits the pedal. Our paddle is a react and our box is also a react, and we only can tell if those are touching if we can check if those are colliding. And here is rough sketches of two react A and B colliding. And if you focus and think of it clearly, you can see all of them there is a common thing, which is in every collision A left will always be smaller than B right, and B left will always be smaller than A right, and A top will be always lower than B down, and B top will always be lower than A down. If these four criteria are true, then we can say that both react are colliding. Now we are able to write the code to check if the box and pedal are colliding. Box right will be greater than pedal left, and box left will be less than pedal right. Box down will be greater than pedal top. Lastly, box top will be less than pedal down. Now we'll check if box is moving right. To ensure box is not already bounced back, we will flip the x velocity. We did something wrong. It crashed because we forgot to give it a key. Now we can hit the box with the pedal. But in ping pong, box speed slowly increases. We will implement it here. Every time the box collides with pedal, it will gain some extra velocity. First multiply speed by 3 to check if it's working. Perfect. Keep the increment slightly bigger than 1. Now we should also count the scores. In start, score will be 0, and every time you hit the box with the pedal, score will increase by 1. And the score is supposed to be visible on screen. For that we will use Pygame font, and first we have to initialize Pygame font. We will use Pygame's default sys font, and size can be 40 pixels. To get image of our current score, we will use font.render and pass it our score as a string. For color, I will use a grayish shade. Now we can bleed this image on screen. I want it to be in the center of the screen. So score counting is working. See, our screen size is 400, 400. Font size is 40, 40. Then center is screen width by 2 minus font width by 2, comma screen height by 2 minus font height by 2. This is why we give font position 180, 180. But when score is more than 9, we will see score image is bleeding like this. Because after some time font width also increases. The font height is always same, so y always remains 180. But to fix X position, Suppose this is our score, and if we want it to be in the center of the screen, we have to update its position every time. We have to every time do screen dot width by 2 minus font dot width by 2. So this will be our position. Well, the score is in the center, but we want to restart the game when we miss the box. We will check if any key is pressed, and then if the enter key is pressed, the game should restart. Now we can restart the game by pressing the enter key, but we want the game should only restart once we miss the box, not when we are playing. For that we will use a variable to store if game over is true or not. We will do if box right becomes greater than screen width, then game over equals to true. And we are not supposed to be able to move the paddle when game over is true. We should only be able to restart when game over is true. Now I am pressing enter key, but the game is not restarting. Now I cannot move the pedal, and now I can restart. It's working perfectly. So this is it for today's video, and in next video we'll make a Flappy Bird game, and there we will learn how to use image assets and audio assets. And not only we will write the code, but we will also make a shareable exe, and in that game we will use basic classes. So before watching that video, make sure you know basics of object oriented programming, and you can join my Discord from the description link. If you have any doubts, I will be happy to answer there. And by the way, you can find today's code in the description.